So, my name is Vondell Singleton. I'm the founder of the CHAMPS Male Mentoring Program. And here's what I need for you to do. I need for you to go ahead and share this right now. We are live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, and Periscope. So, we are reaching a wide audience tonight. And guess what, everybody? This is a very important weekend for two reasons. Juneteenth is right around the corner. I had the privilege of going to college at Oral Roberts University in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And in 1999, around 2000, I really learned the history of the Tulsa Black Wall Street and what happened in 1921. And so we are taking a moment to just revisit our history because everything is coming full circle. It's almost 100 years. And next year, on what happened into the great city of Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's also this weekend, Father's Day weekend coming up. And I felt like it was really important to allow our leaders of the world today, our Black women, to lead this conversation. Do not get it twisted. Men, I'm sorry, but our women are the leaders of the world. And I sincerely mean that. So I am privileged and I'm honored to have these wonderful women on this particular town hall. My wife, Dr. Patrina Singleton, is really excited about this town hall. And you will hear it from her directly. I'm so proud of her for lending her voice to this very important conversation. Last week, we had a very powerful discussion with some powerful men, and they shared in context some solutions, some ideas, and some very, very important ideas around how we can move this conversation forward, a real conversation regarding solution for boys and young men of color. And so thank you to Adebayo. Thank you, Corey Anderson. Thank you, Minister Shammrie, Brother LeVern, Brother Chris Goins, Brother Henry, Dedrick Sims, and Pastor Wright. Thank you for your contribution. On tonight, I get the privilege to introduce our moderator that will carry this conversation forward. Constance Jones is the CEO of Noble Network of Charter Schools, serving over 12,000 students in 18 campuses in the Chicago area. It is the largest charter school network in the state of Illinois, and might I add, the highest performing charter school network. Constance Jones is a fearless leader, moving mountains, and she's also one of the most powerful women, not just in Chicago, in the world. She's super busy, so I'm extremely grateful and proud that she will be moderating this conversation. I want everyone to give a warm welcome to CEO Constance Jones. Welcome, Constance.
Thank you, Vondell. Vondell knows every single time he does one of those introductions, I have to keep myself from falling out of my chair. So thank you. You're too kind, and I am so excited to be here today. Vondell, you mentioned that it's the eve of a few things that are happening right now. Juneteenth tomorrow. We'll be celebrating our fathers this weekend. And I'm really excited about the questions that we have today that focus on our brothers. I love Black men, and I know everyone here today loves Black men. And we want to be there to support our brothers, particularly during this time. I'm grateful, as Vondell mentioned, to be the CEO of Noble Schools and work in service to 12,000 students across the city of Chicago. I have been in Chicago now for 12 years, and I totally consider myself a Chicagoan. I also, if the accent doesn't give me away, am a passionate Southerner. I grew up in North Carolina, and all of my family lives in North Carolina. I'm proud to be the descendant of farmers in North Carolina, and I've been blessed with the opportunity to go to schools like the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and Harvard Business School. And those opportunities create a path for me to be able to sit here today. So that took me to education after working in business for several years, because I am so passionate about kids who look like me being able to accomplish their wildest dreams. So I'm very, very grateful to do this work. So thank you, Vondell, and I'll turn it back over to you so that we can hear from our other panelists tonight.
All right, let's hear from Miss Bonnie Winfrey.
It is such a pleasure to be among all of the panelists and along with you, Constance. And it's, it's just a joy to talk about what we're talking about today, talking about our Black boys and men is a subject that I truly love. I want to tell you a little bit about me. I'm born to create and win. My purpose in life is to transform lives through media, publications, consultations, and also coaching. I'm a communication and media strategist. I didn't always know my purpose in life. I had a situation where my mother passed away early. Unfortunately, she passed away at the age of 44. I was very young at the time. And it took a lot out of me because of, I guess, the way it happened. A physician who could have came in and avoided a situation during a routine surgery left a clamp inside of her. And because of pride, ego, and image, he didn't go back in to remove it. As a result of that, she eventually ended up losing her life. So along with that, I just felt like I had no purpose. A wise woman came to me and said, get on your knees and pray to God because he made you, and allow him to tell you why you are on this earth. I did that. And I'm telling you, the windows of heaven just opened up. God just showed me this whole world of communications that I feel I now own today. It's really something. The other thing is that I am from the Chicago area, Joliet, born and raised. And my father and grandfather were from Mississippi, but they were business owners. So I always like to say I had that entrepreneur gene inside of me. My basic training started at the University of Illinois, went on to where I worked at ABC, CNN, the Weather Channel, Fox Broadcasting. And I just love what I do. I'm just one of those people that I work hard in my field and I really love it. I own Kaylin and Kyler Enterprises, an award-winning communications company. We specialize in public relations, video production trainings, you name it, anything, commercials, etc. The other thing is that I just wrote my first book. It will soon to be released. It's called Command Your World, 10 Communication Strategies to Present Your Best Self and Win. And I happen to be married to Keith Winfrey, and we've been married for 36 years, and I have 2 sons that are entrepreneurs.
Here we go. All right. Well, this evening, I'm very happy to also be amongst such a wonderful and powerful group of leading ladies this evening, especially in an audience and a community of men who have built such a strong foundation, not only for our boys, but for our entire community. So I can feel the safety, I can feel the ease and the importance and the vitality of this conversation tonight with these leading ladies. My name is Kelly Fair. I am the founder and executive director of Polished Pebbles Girls Mentoring Program and an educational consultant. I'm from the far south side of Chicago. I'm from Roseland all day, every day. But my purpose, my passion, I help girls shape their future professional voices. And I've done that primarily through my work in the last 11 years with Polished Pebbles Girls Mentoring Program. I took the inspiration a mentor of mine had taught me much of what I know about programming for girls and for women in mentoring programs. And when she made her transition in 2006, I felt the need to continue the work. And so Polished Pebbles was born. And we started off with 2 girls. Since that time with Polished Pebbles, we've served close to 4,000 elementary school, middle school, and high school girls through after school and school day programs. We help girls become great communicators at home, at school, and the future workplace. And we've been blessed to expand our work from our base here in Chicago and serve throughout the Chicagoland area, the suburbs, Northwest Indiana, Texas, and then also serve young women in North Carolina at Duke University as well. Thinking about that time, thinking about the importance of working with girls and communication skills and their career skills, I also had to become, to keep my nonprofit strong and thriving, an architect, a convener. And so I'm also passionate about bringing businesses, elected officials, civic organizations, communities, families together to create these wonderful career mentoring initiatives for our girls. Companies like Bloomingdale's have been in for the full 10-year term. Microsoft, Blue Cross Blue Shield, the Hyatt, mechanical contractors of Chicago and Ann Taylor, just to name a few of those businesses and companies that have been all in with us. And so career and success is my passion, which I'm happy that we've been able to birth my second book, which will be out towards the end of this month. It's called Every Girl is a CEO, and it's a career and success guide for girls. So happy tonight to talk about how important it is to protect our young people. And even in the midst of the crises, even in the midst of COVID-19, our young people deserve, they must have the ability to continue to grow and to dream. And I'm happy to be a part of this conversation tonight to make sure as a community we're equipped.
Everyone, my name is Patrina. I was born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I love Jesus, and I wouldn't be here other than the grace of God, so I just want to acknowledge God. This is my little one that's sneaking in the picture here. I am happily married to Vondell Singleton, except for this week. My joke is that our marriage is on the rocks because I am here, and those of you who know me well, this was a journey to be sitting right here in this Born to Win seat. So I'm here. So we'll see how things go. We will be married 17 years next month on July 12th. So that's really exciting. We have a little 6-year-old who just finished kindergarten today. So that's really exciting. And an 11-year-old Promise who will just finish 5th grade and will be going to 6th grade. Fun fact about our little VJ, he also just learned how to ride his bike without training wheels. So that is super exciting. All the grandparents already know this, so that's not breaking news. But for the rest of you, that's huge, humongous. So I am an elementary school principal in a Chicago public school. I serve students in pre-K through 8th grade, and it is an intense calling, but it's something that I absolutely love doing. I wake up every morning just ready to go. I'm fired up. So I love the work of serving our students, our families, and the community. And I was greatly influenced and largely raised by my great-great-aunt and uncle. They were in their 70s when they raised me. My great-great-aunt lived to be 103 years old, and they really are my why for the work that I do in education. They really influenced me towards higher education. My great-great-aunt would say over and over, you're going to college, repeatedly. And then my Uncle Carl, we call him Uncle Carl, we told him, he would always say, you need to learn those computers. I don't know what I needed to learn about those computers, but he kept telling me I need to learn the computers. And so they really stood in the gap for me. They really provided a positive narrative for me. And some of you all who follow Vondell may have heard him ask his mentor, how can he repay him back? And his mentor said, the same thing that I did for you, do for someone else. And so that's basically Vondell and my mission, to really stand in the gap for others, to make sure they are successful, because we know the importance that one person can have on another's life, because our lives have been completely changed because someone stood in the gap for us. And so I want to make sure our students are set up for college, career, and success beyond. I also want to just acknowledge that I'm so honored, even though it was a journey for me to get here, to be on the panel with these leading ladies, to listen, to learn, and to be a part of the conversation. And happy Father's Day to all the fathers who are watching.
Good discussion, and I wouldn't be able to imagine it without you being here. Thank you all, ladies, for those beautiful introductions. And as I was sitting here listening to you tell your story and just the evolution of your passions, I heard so many common themes around faith, communications, champion for youth, and the impact of family on our professional and personal paths, and mentors and mentorship. And so there are lots of things that already tie us together. As Vondell mentioned, when he was opening, there were lots of questions that were asked to an all Black male panel last week. And this week is an opportunity for us to ask some of the same questions and get a female perspective. I've been in conversations with lots of folks over the past few months. I know many of us have. And if you had asked me a year ago if we would be where we are today, right now, right here in this moment, I don't think any of us could have made this up. But here we are. And we are, on one hand, facing things that we've never seen before in our lifetime with this pandemic, with COVID-19. And on the other hand, facing this other pandemic of racism throughout our country, which sadly we've experienced for hundreds of years. So we all witnessed the death of George Floyd for an excruciating 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Every time I say it and think of it out loud, it makes me shudder. And of course, we know that this sparked outrage all over the world. So now that we have everyone's attention, everyone is watching, I would love to hear from you all. What are some solutions we must see in terms of justice, real justice, and reparations? And I'm going to start with you, Bonnie, to kick off the conversation.
Well, the first thing I want to say is that I feel as if the same way you do, Constance, every time I think about what happened to George Floyd, my heart just, it goes out to him. The National Association of Black Journalists sent out an illustration with an invitation to one of our meetings that we had recently. And it showed a young man. He had a badge on that said Black America. And then he had a white hand around his neck, choking him. And at the knuckles, it read racism. And out of his mouth, he was whispering the words, "I can't breathe." I think that this whole movement involving George Floyd is more than we ever thought that it would be. Now I have a lot of people, Black, white, all races, calling me, asking me, how can we help? What can we do? And I think we need a plan. I think we need some type of agenda to be able to tell people what they can do. I know different businesses, what they're doing is they're offering training now. Everybody's saying I'm not a racist, but I still think the education needs to go forth of what a racist is and what racism is. And then with all of that, I think that what we need to do is just really be honest about what's going on, being honest about what really happened. I worked for a police department, and I am outraged because the mission of a police officer is to protect and serve. None of that's going on today. So we need new reforms in place. We need to be able to come together and have some type of platform where we can present what needs to happen to change our world today into a better situation.
So Kelly and I are going back and forth with the mute button. Kelly, please go ahead and jump in. I want anybody and everyone to just jump in as they see fit. Don't wait for me to call you, okay?
Okay, absolutely. No issues. So when I think about this particular topic and what are some of the things that we can do, I agree with Bonnie. We need some planning going on. When I think about reparations or resources that are needed, I I think Keith Sweat, the R&B crooner, put it best: make it last forever, right? When I'm thinking about seeing all the statements, the social media pieces from this company, from this organization, don't do us with a hashtag moment, right? I think one of the beautiful things about COVID-19 is it's forced us all to be a lot more present. We couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't distract yourself. We're right here. And so I think that if we miss the opportunity to not be present and really encourage long-term sustainable engagement, we be missing the mark. So for me, I have to think about it from my standpoint of Polished Pebbles and running an organization for 11 years, a nonprofit, and being a social entrepreneur. For my social impact project to succeed, for girls to become great communicators and be successful in shaping and entering the future workforce, I need you to be in it with me for the long term. So that means sustainable resources, sustainable long-term partnerships. And it's got to come back to it, like Jerry Maguire says, show me the money. It's got to be sustainable long-term funding. When I think about our work and what we've done, and when I'm in different spaces and we talk about it and what do we need, everybody wants a baby Michelle Obama. Are you cranking out Michelle Obamas? Yeah, well, Michelle Obama wasn't built in 10 weeks with a 1 hour a week program. Michelle Obama, that kind of support and the nurturing and the mentoring that goes into grooming that type of leading lady, requires you to ask me, well, what else do you really need, right? So it means that we need support and partnerships. That stuff means when budget cuts hit, who else from the other sectors steps in? Does the private sector step in? How do we support and stand in the gap? So for me, when I think about what do we want, what do we need, these conversations have to continue. Starbucks a couple years ago wanted baristas to have conversations about race and in the society, and America was like, just give me my coffee. So I think that maybe this experience is bringing us back to a place to realize that some of the solutions, the planning, the things that we want to do have to be long term. We have to be in it for the long run. And it ain't going to be easy, but nothing that's worthwhile is. So I think sustainability is really a key piece.
So true. Katrina, you have any thoughts?
So, in education, we talk about, when we're talking about justice and equity, oftentimes we talk about having high expectations and high level of supports as it relates to our students. And as I think about this work of justice and equity and being an educational leader, more than ever, it's important for us to have high expectations of the adults and high levels of support for our adults as well. Ms. Fair and Ms. Winfrey just mentioned sustainable resources and funding. And really, what I'm noticing right now in education is that our educators need additional support, that additional training, because we are all trying to grapple with, how do we address these century-long of oppression, the knee on the neck, symbolized by the knee on George Floyd's neck. And so, so when I think about that, high expectations and high levels of support, we need additional funding, as was mentioned. Some other things, I really think that the equity work really begins with us knowing our students, their unique perspectives, understanding their diversity, and also thinking about our curriculum and how our curriculum is reflecting their history and them seeing themselves within the curriculum. And also one thing that I've worked towards is really diversifying our staff. I think that is really important as well, making sure that our students see people who look like them, who are successful, who are role models, because our students need to see that positive narrative. And one thing that is happening in Chicago Public Schools with our current CEO is making sure that we are having well-rounded programming for all of our students, no matter your location, your demographics, that all of our students need access to the arts. They need access to language. They need access to advanced academic programming. So just ensuring that our programming and our curriculum really is empowering for our students. Excuse me, it's empowering for our students, and that it's not continuing to oppress and push them down, but it's really lifting them up and showing that they are valued. So as an educational leader, that's one thing that I'm thinking a lot about. Also, I'm also thinking about the named curriculum, that we see the written curriculum, but also the hidden curriculum, and going back to that need for training. There's a lot that goes on that's not necessarily taught, but kind of caught, and that is felt. And so I think just training about that implicit bias and what our view is and what our value is of our students is really needed in this time as well. And again, that goes with increased funding, that high level of high expectations for us as leaders, in addition with that